Every strand of hair you're losing is a warning sign, a silent message from your body that most women ignore until it's too late. By the time you notice your scalp shining through, the damage is already in motion. But here's the truth, no one tells you. Baldness in women over 60 is not destiny. It's a choice between the habits that destroy your hair and the secrets that save it. If you're over 50 and your hair is thinning, you must watch this now, because what you do today will decide how you look for the rest of your life. When you first notice strands of hair collecting on your pillow, in the shower drain, or caught in your brush, it can feel like your body is betraying you. For many women over 50, hair loss doesn't come suddenly. It creeps in quietly, in the form of thinning at the crown, a widening part, or a scalp that suddenly feels more exposed than it once did. What makes this change so devastating isn't only the way it alters your appearance, but the way it threatens your confidence, your identity, and sometimes even your sense of femininity. Hair has always been more than strands on our head. It is woven into culture, beauty, and self-expression. And when it begins to disappear, it can feel like the years are catching up faster than you ever imagined. But here is the truth. Thinning hair after 50 is far more common than most women realize. Studies show that nearly 2/3 of women experience noticeable hair loss after menopause. Yet the topic is still shrouded in silence, shame, and embarrassment. The beauty industry talks endlessly about wrinkles, makeup, and clothing, but few speak openly about bald spots on women. And when they do, the advice is often generic, shallow, or designed to sell expensive products that rarely solve the real problem. What women need isn't another empty promise, but an honest look at why it happens, what makes it worse, and what can actually be done to preserve both beauty and confidence. Let's begin with the truth behind why hair thins as we age. Hormones play the biggest role. During menopause, estrogen and progesterone levels decline dramatically. These hormones were once protective, keeping hair in its growth phase longer and helping follicles stay strong. When they diminish, hair becomes finer, weaker, and sheds more easily. At the same time, androgen hormones, particularly dihydrotestosterone, DHT, become relatively stronger. DHT has a shrinking effect on hair follicles, especially along the top of the scalp, leading to that classic widening part line many women notice in their 50s and 60s. But hormones are not the only culprit. Years of styling choices add up. Decades of coloring, perming, straightening, and heat styling weaken the hair shaft. Even simple habits like pulling your hair tightly into ponytails or buns create constant tension on the follicles, a condition known as traction alopecia. Over time, these follicles can give up completely, leading to permanent bald patches. Add in stress, poor circulation to the scalp, certain medications, and nutritional gaps, and the recipe for thinning hair becomes even stronger. One of the greatest mistakes women make when they first notice thinning is ignoring it. They hope it will stop on its own, or they hide it with a new part, a hat or a headscarf. But silence is the enemy of solutions. The longer the issue is avoided, the more difficult it becomes to reverse. Think of your hair follicles like a garden. If the soil is dry and the plants are neglected, they won't thrive. If left too long, the soil itself becomes barren, and no new growth can return. Acting early, when thinning is just beginning, is the most powerful way to protect what you still have. Another mistake is choosing hairstyles or products that actually accelerate the problem. Many women, desperate to cover thinning areas, pile on heavy extensions or thick wigs without realizing that these add weight and strain to already fragile follicles. Others turn to harsh shampoos or medicated treatments without considering the chemicals they're rubbing into a scalp that's already sensitive and inflamed. And still others double down on frequent dyeing, trying to disguise grey hair, while unwittingly stripping the few healthy strands they still have left. So what can you do instead? The first step is awareness. Begin observing your habits as though you were a gentle caretaker of your own hair. Ask yourself, am I pulling my hair too tightly? Am I overusing products that promise miracles but leave my scalp itchy? Am I nourishing my body with the right vitamins, minerals, and proteins that hair desperately needs to grow? Questions like these are not just cosmetic. They are deeply tied to your health and well-being. Imagine this scenario. Two women, both 62 years old, both beginning to notice thinning hair. One dismisses it as an inevitable part of aging and keeps following the same habits: tight buns, endless dye jobs, quick chemical fixes. Within 5 years, her crown has visible bald spots, and her confidence plummets every time she looks in the mirror. The other woman takes action the moment she notices change. She switches to looser, layered hairstyles that give the illusion of volume. She invests in scalp care, massaging her head nightly to stimulate blood flow. She focuses on foods rich in omega-3s, iron, and biotin, and she protects her hair from unnecessary stress. After those same 5 years, her hair is not perfect, but it is fuller, healthier, and her confidence has only grown. The difference between these two women isn't luck, it's knowledge and action. That's why the phrase, "watch this before you go bald," is not just dramatic. It is a wake-up call, because in reality, most women do not lose their hair overnight. It happens slowly, gradually, and silently, and that means there is still time to take control. By recognizing the signs early and avoiding the habits that speed up thinning, you can protect your hair and the confidence that comes with it. Perhaps the most important mindset shift is this: thinning hair does not define you. Bald spots do not erase your beauty. But taking care of your hair, your scalp, and your body is a way of showing respect to yourself, a way of refusing to surrender to the things that can be prevented. Every strand of hair you keep, every follicle you protect, is a small victory that adds up to years of looking and feeling younger than your age. So the next time you see extra strands in your brush, don't shrug it off. Don't hide in silence. See it for what it is: a message from your body that now is the time to act. Because the choices you make today will decide whether your future reflection shows thinning bald patches or a fuller head of hair that tells the world you are still vibrant, strong, and unapologetically beautiful. When most women first notice their hair thinning, their reaction is understandable. They panic, they search for quick fixes, and they often grab at the nearest product that promises instant results. The problem is that many of these desperate measures do more harm than good. What begins as an attempt to rescue fragile hair often turns into a series of mistakes that accelerate baldness, leaving the scalp weaker, more exposed, and harder to recover. One of the biggest mistakes is ignoring nutrition. Hair is made primarily of a protein called keratin, and like every part of the body, it depends on nutrients from the inside out. Yet many women over 50 unintentionally starve their hair by following diets that are either too restrictive or too focused on weight loss. Crash diets, low-protein meals, and a lack of iron-rich foods rob the follicles of the raw materials they need. Without adequate protein, the hair shafts become brittle. Without iron, the blood cannot deliver oxygen efficiently to the scalp. Without vitamins like biotin, B12, and vitamin D, follicles weaken and slip into what is called the resting phase, where growth halts. The irony is that many women believe thinning hair is simply genetic or hormonal, when in fact, deficiencies play a huge role. In clinical studies, women with thinning hair frequently test low in ferritin, the body's iron storage protein, zinc, and vitamin D. These are not abstract medical terms. They are clues to why the hair you once had may now be falling faster than ever. The mistake is treating hair loss like a surface-level problem, when in reality it is often rooted in deeper nutritional imbalances. Another mistake comes from overstyling in disguise. After menopause, many women feel a strong urge to cover grays more often, leading to frequent coloring sessions. While modern dyes are marketed as gentle or ammonia-free, they still contain harsh chemicals that strip the hair cuticle. Over time, repeated coloring weakens already thinning strands, making breakage inevitable. Add to that the blow-drying, straightening, curling and chemical smoothing treatments, and what you have is hair that's not only thinning at the root, but snapping at the ends. The more a woman tries to maintain a youthful appearance with styling, the faster she may be chasing baldness without even realizing it. But perhaps the most damaging mistake is tight hairstyles and extensions. Many women who see thinning at the crown or temples turn to clip-in extensions, glued wefts, or even tightly sewn wigs. The intention is innocent: cover what's thinning. But the constant weight pulling on fragile follicles creates a condition known as traction alopecia. This type of hair loss is often permanent. Follicles subjected to years of tension can scar over, meaning they will never produce hair again. Imagine tying a rope tightly around a small plant stem day after day. Eventually, it cuts into the tissue until the plant cannot recover. That is exactly what happens to your scalp when it is under chronic tension. Another mistake is the use of harsh products in desperation. Shelves are filled with shampoos labeled thickening, volumizing, or for thinning hair. Yet many of these are packed with sulfates and alcohols that dry out the scalp and strip natural oils. A dry, inflamed scalp is the enemy of healthy hair growth. Some women even turn to strong medicated shampoos designed for dandruff or scalp infections, not realizing these formulas are far too harsh for daily use. The result? A scalp that becomes red, flaky, and hostile to new growth. Then there is the stress factor. Emotional stress and physical stress are silent accelerators of baldness. Cortisol, the stress hormone, wreaks havoc on hair growth cycles. Women caring for aging parents, coping with illness, or battling financial pressures often see their hair thinning more rapidly. This isn't vanity, it is biology. Stress hormones force follicles into the resting phase, triggering a type of hair loss called telogen effluvium. The cruel part is that the stress of noticing bald patches creates more stress, forming a vicious cycle. Another overlooked mistake is ignoring medical conditions. Thyroid disorders, autoimmune diseases, and even certain medications can contribute to hair loss. Yet many women assume it's just age and never bring it up with their doctors. Blood pressure medications, antidepressants, and even some cholesterol-lowering drugs list hair thinning as a side effect. By not addressing the medical root, women end up treating only the symptom, and often with products that mask the problem instead of solving it. Finally, one of the most heartbreaking mistakes is hiding instead of addressing. Too many women retreat into scarves, hats, and silence. They avoid mirrors, skip social events, and stop taking photos. This emotional withdrawal accelerates aging far more than baldness ever could. Because in truth, hair is not only about appearance, it is about identity and confidence. When a woman feels she must hide her thinning hair, she begins hiding herself. And that loss of joy, of vibrancy, of spirit, makes her look older in ways no bald spot ever could. But here is the empowering truth. Every one of these mistakes is avoidable. You can nourish your body instead of starving it. You can choose gentler ways to color and style your hair. You can protect your scalp from unnecessary tension. You can address stress not just for your hair, but for your health. And you can step into the doctor's office and demand answers when your hair loss feels more than skin deep. When women stop making these mistakes, the transformation is often remarkable. Hair may not grow back overnight, but it grows stronger, healthier, and fuller. More importantly, the woman in the mirror begins to change. She looks at herself not as a victim of baldness, but as someone in control. Someone who refuses to accelerate a process that society tells her is inevitable. And that is the real secret. Baldness is not destiny. It is often the result of choices, repeated, overlooked, mistaken choices that can be changed today. Every mistake avoided is a strand of hair saved, and every step toward healthier habits is a step toward looking and feeling younger than your years. Now that we've uncovered why hair thins and the mistakes that make it worse, the most important question remains: what can you actually do about it? Because while hair loss may feel like something beyond your control, the truth is there are powerful, practical steps you can take to slow it down, restore what you have, and reclaim the confidence that thinning hair has tried to steal. The first and most overlooked solution is nourishing your body from within. Hair is not an isolated part of your appearance. It's a reflection of your overall health. Imagine your follicles as tiny factories that never stop working. To keep producing strong, shiny strands, they need a constant supply of nutrients. That means protein-rich foods like eggs, beans, lentils, and lean meats. It means leafy greens like spinach and kale, which are packed with iron. It means seeds and nuts, especially walnuts, chia seeds, and pumpkin seeds, which deliver zinc and omega-3 fatty acids that strengthen follicles. And it means colorful fruits like papaya and berries, loaded with vitamin C to boost collagen production. Think of every balanced meal not just as fuel for your body, but as medicine for your hair. But food alone isn't the only answer. The second powerful habit is scalp care. Too many women treat their scalp as an afterthought, focusing only on the visible strands. Yet the scalp is living skin, and if it's dry, clogged, or poorly circulated, hair cannot thrive. Simple daily massages with your fingertips, even 5 minutes before bed, stimulate blood flow, bringing oxygen and nutrients directly to the roots. Some women use lightweight oils like rosemary, argan, or coconut oil to add nourishment. Scientific studies have shown rosemary oil, in particular, can be as effective as some medicated treatments in encouraging regrowth when used consistently. More importantly, scalp massage is free, soothing, and a natural stress reliever. It not only feeds the follicles but calms the mind, breaking the cycle of stress-related shedding. The third solution is choosing the right hairstyles and cuts. This isn't about hiding bald spots in shame, but about working with what you have to create the illusion of volume. Layers, for example, can transform thin hair into fuller-looking styles by adding dimension. A side part can disguise thinning at the crown, while bangs can cleverly cover a receding hairline. Shorter, textured cuts often make hair appear thicker, while long, heavy styles can drag down fine strands, exposing the scalp. Even something as simple as changing the direction of your part once in a while prevents follicles from being constantly stressed in one area. The right cut doesn't just save your hair, it can take 10 years off your appearance. Beyond natural approaches, some women also benefit from modern hair helpers. Volumizing powders, root sprays, and hair fibers can instantly fill in thinning areas, creating a natural, fuller look without harming the scalp. Unlike heavy extensions or glued wefts, these lightweight products wash out easily and don't damage follicles. Similarly, modern wigs and toppers are not what they used to be. Today, they are lightweight, breathable, and styled so naturally that no one can tell. Instead of viewing them as a last resort, think of them as fashion accessories, tools that allow you to express your style confidently, even on days when your natural hair feels thin. Another solution lies in mindset and stress management. Hair thrives in a body that feels safe. Chronic stress floods the body with cortisol, cutting off growth and triggering shedding. Finding ways to manage stress, whether through yoga, meditation, journaling, or simply taking daily walks, makes a profound difference. And it's not just for your hair, it improves your skin, your sleep, and your overall vitality. Women who learn to nurture peace in their daily routines often find that their hair not only stops shedding as rapidly, but grows in stronger. For women with medical conditions, solutions may also involve professional guidance. Doctors can check for thyroid issues, hormonal imbalances, or vitamin deficiencies. Dermatologists can prescribe treatments like minoxidil, which has been proven to reactivate dormant follicles. While no treatment is a miracle, combining medical guidance with lifestyle changes provides the strongest chance for visible results. What matters most is refusing to stay silent. Asking questions, demanding tests, and seeking answers is not vanity. It's self-care at its highest level, but perhaps the most powerful solution of all is confidence itself. Because while hair matters, it is not the whole story of beauty. Many women who feel trapped by thinning hair slowly rediscover themselves by focusing on the features that remain strong. A confident smile, a graceful posture, glowing skin, or even a vibrant wardrobe can shift attention completely. Beauty is not about tricking others into believing you are younger. It is about radiating energy that makes age irrelevant. A woman who embraces herself, hair loss and all, shines brighter than any full head of hair ever could. So if you are watching this and noticing thinning, let this be your reminder: you are not powerless. Every day you can make choices. What you eat, how you care for your scalp, the styles you choose, the way you handle stress, that either weaken or strengthen your hair. And every choice you make adds up over time. The woman who starts today, even with the smallest change, is the woman who will look in the mirror months from now and see hope instead of loss, growth instead of defeat. You do not need to accept baldness as your destiny. You are allowed to protect, to restore, and to thrive. Your hair is not gone. It is waiting for you to care for it the way it has cared for you all these years. So the next time you look in the mirror, instead of seeing defeat, see opportunity. See a woman who is still vibrant, still strong, and still capable of beauty at any age. And most importantly, know that your story is not written by the hair you lose, but by the confidence you choose.